This is the Segovia Show.
Hey guys, Andres, and here is my quick review of the Samsung Galaxy Fit. If you haven't seen my impressions video and unboxing of this, I'll leave a link to it in the video description down below, and also the conclusion of this video, because I don't want to recap some of the same things I've already covered. But what I should recap, or at least retell, is what $99 gets you. $99 gets you the best Fitbit competitor I've come across, with beautiful display, perhaps the most beautiful display you can find in a wearable, and it's Samsung, so you kind of expect that from their devices. So this is an AMOLED display, and it's beautiful. Then what I love about this device, that it lives up to the battery hype. I was able to get a week's worth of battery out of this little device, and I was really impressed. The thing is that in order to get that, I actually turned off notifications, because you can't install other applications to this thing, so it's literally just fitness stuff, and in this case Samsung Health items. And of course I dimmed down my screen for the purposes of the review. I'm leaving the screen at the fullest brightness, but I normally keep it at 50% brightness or lower, because I don't need it that bright, and it gets the job done. You can still see it in daylight at a relatively low setting compared to other devices, but it's still water resistant up to, I believe, 50 meters. I'll correct that in the video description down below if I'm wrong about that. But you can get 7 days of battery out of this thing, and that includes getting at least a 1 hour workout in and using it for sleep tracking every single night. So that's when it's definitely working, when it's tracking my sleep. So you can remove the bands here, and I hope that there's other kind of bands you can get, because I'm not a fan of these sports bands. It's kind of one of those that you loop up and over, and I really hate those things. I dropped this thing so many times, it's ridiculous. The charging cradle, even though it lasts a long time in battery, I don't know what the heck is up with Samsung. They're the ones that popularized fast charging, even fast wireless charging. This thing, oh my goodness, from 0% to 100%, it's in most cases it's taking an average of 3 hours to charge. That's insane. This little guy takes that long? My goodness, that's just insane. So I haven't been, in some cases I haven't been able to really carry it all the time. That's why every time I hit 0 I get disappointed, because I have to plan to leave the device behind, and I do, because, well, there you go, it takes forever to charge. How they'll be able to address it in future updates, I don't know. I just sure hope they can. All right, now when it comes to what widgets you can use, you're very limited into what you can use. This guy literally is just tied to your Samsung Health, and I'm actually adding in my nutrition settings today. As you can see, I didn't have any sleep recorder here, because unfortunately this thing had to be charged. When it comes to workouts, you don't really get as many workouts to choose from. So now here I am diving into the health items, right? So you get walking, running, cycling, swimming, and other workout, which is kind of disappointing, because I do gym-based exercises, not outdoors right now, because I've been doing more strength-based workouts. And because of that, I'm not doing a heavy cardio when it comes to, say, hiking or running, which is what I believe this thing is suited for. It's not suited for gym-based workouts, and I'll give you a comparison in a little bit as to why. Now, continuing on with what you're able to cycle through here, you can measure your stress levels, including your oxygen level, if I'm not mistaken. It does have the weather widget and your calories burned. That's the way I set it up. Of course, it reads your heart. And here are 2 little more widgets about a stopwatch and a timer that you can install, and of course notifications. After that's like a carousel, so you cycle all the way back around. And if you're somewhere else here, you can just press the button and take you back home, and that's about it. I installed just about every widget there is to install. You can't install third-party apps on this, as far as I can tell, so it's literally just an extension of Samsung Health. So now we get to it. This is what we're talking about, Samsung Health. And I use my Under Armour suite for tracking any exercise that I do, and for nutrition I do track with my Fitness Pal, but my primary the dietary nutrition diary, it is Samsung Health, which is what I really enjoy. But to get to that, I'll show you that here, this is the Under Armour Record app. I use the Under Armour band with my scale and my heart rate monitor, and it's connected to the services, which they still call it S Health here, but it's Samsung Health, and my Fitness Pal, so it's constantly talking to that. Yes, I even got connected shoes. So I track all my health back and forth between these two. When it comes to nutrition though, I highly prefer using Samsung Health, which is why this guy comes in very handy, because I'm tracking my water intake, my caffeine intake, my steps, not so much. I'm not concerned about steps anymore because step counter is not really my thing. I exercise and that's what matters for me. What I care about is being able to track my macros, which is Samsung Health gives me a great layout. And this is Samsung Health 6.0. I haven't reviewed that one, but I would love to. This is my nutrition for the day, and it breaks down my macros, what I care about the most. I try to hit no more than 300 grams of carbs, 100 grams of healthy fats, and 200 or less protein, depending on my exercise for the day. I didn't have to hit my 200 grams today. This is actually a pretty good average of what I consume daily to make sure that I'm gaining mass and while maintaining my mass that I currently have as well. Okay, so when it comes to activity, that's where I use the Under Armour suite, and that one connects. For some dumb reason, it goes all the way to my Fitness Pal, but then cycles back to Samsung Health instead of Under Armour's record sending it straight to Samsung Health. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But here's where I do track my weight. I track my sleep, thanks to this guy, my caffeine intake, my water intake, my health intake, and for steps, this thing is just there to use up the screen real estate, but I don't really use my steps for much of anything because it doesn't tell me much of anything for my fitness levels. But overall, that's why I got this thing and for why I kept it, because I use Samsung Health, and this is Samsung Health on your wrist. So if you're not in Samsung Health, this is probably not going to do it for you, unless you're using Samsung Health to feed the services over to my Fitness Pal and any other service that is still sharing information, data sharing with Samsung Health, because I think it was before the 6.0 came around for the Samsung Health, they eliminated a lot of third-party support. I don't know why. They probably try to close their own ecosystem, but it's because this is what I believe, because Under Armour has had such a close relationship with Samsung, because they were also one of those that brought their suite of exercise apps to the Gear Fit Pros and also the Gear Sport. I believe that's why they continues to have that data sharing with one another. Actually, I should pull that up so I could show you, when it comes to that. You go to settings, and data permissions, and here's an example. So let's go to the record app. This is all permissions, where in the case of the record app, it's tracking my exercise and allowed to read and write the daily step count, read my exercise, my sleep, and my sleep stages. But going back, for example, my run, well, not that one, sorry, my Fitness Pal, because it'll cover duplicates, which is kind of annoying. So here for my Fitness Pal, I use it just for my food because I don't want it to overlap with everything else, because then it gets all confusing. So it's able to read what I'm putting into my Samsung Health and taking it over to my Fitness Pal. Now you can't do the same thing with the weight, food intake, and such, so it'll be able to write it here. Allow third-party service to store the following data in Samsung Health. The data may be used by Samsung Health. See, so I'm not storing it on my Fitness Pal, I'm storing it on Samsung Health, so I make sure to keep my permissions this way so it doesn't take my Fitness Pal, put it in Samsung Health, which then takes it to my Fitness Pal and then brings it back to Samsung Health. You see what I mean? It's like just this endless loop. So it took a little bit for me to get used to it, because sometimes it ruined my diary, but I got used to it. But my point is that if there's any apps that still allow data sharing, this is Under Armour, and anything else that the Under Armour suite will appear there. I did notice that Choose Fitness does appear here, and I believe it doesn't really specify what it's using. I'm assuming it's exercise, so that's about it there. But anyway, that's my quick take. For $100, I honestly am very happy to have a sleep tracker, because for gym-based workouts, and it should be appearing on your screen here, the comparison between the same gym-based workout tracking on this and using the record app on my Apple Watch. It was a completely different animal, where this thing was basically assuming I wasn't doing anything except just standing still, and wasn't really reading my heart rate properly, because this optical heart rate was just not up to par with this the the heart rate monitor on the Apple Watch Series 4, which is one of the most accurate on the market, which is super impressive. So I do use my Apple Watch to track all my gym exercises, but since there's no native sleep tracking on the watch, that's where this guy comes in. And because I keep my Samsung Health items on Samsung Health, this is the easiest way for me to input my nutrition into my diary thank you to this device. So it is definitely worth it for me. And as the summer months continue, I will be going out to do some more cardio. So on those runs or hikes, I will be taking this guy and tracking those exercises while I'm at it. So that's my supposed quick take on the Samsung Galaxy Fit. I recommend it if you're into Samsung Health, and possibly if you're data sharing with the Under Armour suite of apps, such as MyFitnessPal, MapMyRun, and the Record Suite. If you're not on any of those, this is not for you. If you're on a Fitbit, you're probably going to want to stay with Fitbit. If you're on Garmin, you're probably going to want to stay on Garmin. But if you're open to tracking your nutrition through those other services that function with this device, then you can't go wrong with it. And for $100, that's pretty awesome. Now, I am disappointed that Samsung Pay isn't included on this, and I believe the GPS does piggyback off your phone, so you need your phone in order to use GPS. So there you go, just keep that in mind. But overall, for $100, you're still getting a lot of a device, and I think this is considerably more durable than the better looking but highly more fragile Gear Fit Pro series, because it's almost twice as much as this device. It does have third-party apps that are available on that, including watches, but my goodness, everybody that I know has cracked it or broken it early on into their ownership, and to repair it costs as much as buying it. So I'm like, you know what, forget it. You know, if this guy's around, I just recommend that if they're going to stay in the Samsung ecosystem. But anyway, that's it for this review. I hope you like it. Like, share, subscribe if you didn't know. Let me know what you think of this device if you have it yourself. If there's any questions I might have missed in the health side that you're curious about, or if you're really curious to see how this thing tracks cardio-based workouts, I'll try to put that up in probably in my Instagram. If not, it'll be a follow-up YouTube video. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see how that plays out. And if you have other services that are probably comparable or better than Samsung Health, which I'm sure there are, so that Samsung Health is actually free, then by all means share your thoughts there, because for all of us that are in fitness, we're always looking for something that fits us. So in my case, Samsung Health works for me. It might not work for you. Under Armour might work for you. And it might not work for somebody else. It's worked very well for me, and I always encourage others to use it if they don't have any service on it. But if they're established somewhere, I'm not going to discourage them from somewhere unless they want to complement their fitness journey. So that's it. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.